You may think that this lovely group of cute girls is headed to a Halloween party, or this is some kind of cosplay.
Yeah.
Surely they cannot be a Soviet sniper squad assigned with a vital mission in World War II, right? Well, that's exactly what they are. I kid you not. Commander Mikolov, the poor man in charge of training them, can barely hide his shock. On their way to their base, they start their introductions. The snipers are led by Corporal Alia. The girl flirting with the driver is Varya, who's a real tough cookie, and then the other two are the sweet Nadia and the naughty Asarina. Also riding with them is one of the medics, Misha Kanonov. He's from the mysterious Tungus people, so now the driver is singing a merry song with Varya. The others are happily chatting in the back, and the German snipers in ridiculous camouflage are taking their aim.
Там есть снайпер.
Led by a highly skilled shooter named Gustav, they're ready to target the convoy. That means the song is over for the poor driver. Everyone jumps out of the vehicles to take cover, except for these stubborn girls who decide it's time to show off. Trying to avoid a complete disaster, Mikolov steps out of cover to protect Nadia. That ends up costing his life because it's a perfect opportunity for Gustav. The survivors of the ambush are taken to their base, and the captain's very distressed at the bad news about Mikolov.
Михайлов убит.
He tells the general what happened, saying that it must have been a complete idiot who selected these rookies for such a mission. It turns out that the complete idiot he's talking about is this same general he's talking to. The captain changes his tune real fast, volunteering to find a replacement for Mikolov. He talks to the lieutenant about that problem. The girls will have to hit targets from 500 meters away. That means they need to find an exceptional shooter to train these ladies.
Ваша комната крайняя.
So the lieutenant decides to think outside the box. He says they do have Misha, the Tungus medic. Running out of more reasonable options, the captain agrees to take that crazy idea to the general. He seems open to anything at this point, but he wants to see it for himself.
Ну давай, Тунгус, показывай свое искусство.
So they take Misha to an open field and place a beer can 500 meters away from him. He takes a shot, but the can is still there.
Попал!
The general starts to voice his opinion about the whole idea. Misha then says nobody told him to aim at the can, so he aimed at the animal. They ask him what on earth he's talking about. Misha walks past the can and picks up a dead squirrel. He brings it to them, and they all start laughing in relief. Misha is their man. Meanwhile, the girls are all having a bath with the lieutenant standing guard at the door. 3 soldiers show up and say they want a sneak peek, but the lieutenant scares them away bravely. The girls are so grateful that they tell him to come inside and collect his reward. Almost blushing, he just keeps repeating that it's forbidden. The next day, the captain visits their dorm. Asarina takes the opportunity to say she wants a mirror. Ignoring her request, he says they must be downstairs with their equipment within 1 minute. Once they're lined up, he introduces them to Misha and explains that he'll be training them under the lieutenant's supervision.
Ответственный за вашу подготовку старший лейтенант.
Later that day, the training begins. The lieutenant chief takes Misha and the girls to the woods. Each girl has a turn to shoot the can, and they all get it right. But Misha is one of those tough teachers that just won't let you get away with stuff. He says the task is too easy and they're not going to learn anything like that.
Хорошо-то хорошо.
So they increase the challenge with a moving target. This time they all fail, except for Misha himself, of course. But then their lesson is interrupted in a dramatic way. The captain arrives with a man named Senya, who used to be a famous playwright before the war. Asarina runs off to cry the moment they meet. In the evening, she explains the situation to her very curious friends.
Полюблю теперь танкиста, что?
Asarina used to be a theater performer. Senya was her boyfriend back then, but he left her for a bigger star, and she has never forgiven him. After she finishes the story, the general comes in. He says she's been told that Asarina is a great singer, and now he wants to organize a concert to cheer up the soldier. In an obviously bad mood, because she knows very well who told him all that, she tries to decline the offer. She soon learns that whatever comes from the general is not really an offer, it's more like a direct order.
Мы побьем значительно больше фашистов.
Forced to accept it, she also takes the opportunity to ask for the mirror again. The captain changes the subject quickly to avoid a reprimand. The next day, Senya comes along with a bunch of lame flowers, only to find Asarina sharing giggles with the lieutenant. Quick on his feet, he takes a detour and pretends the flowers are for Varya. All that romance is suddenly interrupted by an air raid, reminding everyone they're kind of in the middle of a war and all. Once the attack is over, the general shows up with bad news for the captain. It appears that some German snipers are ruining one of their important operations. They must be eliminated in 2 days.
Убрать. Пусть готовится.
Which means the lessons are over. Ready or not, the girls are about to face the real deal. So off they go into the trenches. Alia and Asarina volunteer to follow Misha, and they start crawling through the grass. Misha puts together some kind of scarecrow mounted on his back. The whole thing looks pathetic, but it totally works. He fires at random to get the enemy's attention. The German sniper shoots the decoy, revealing his own position. Asarina takes him down. At night, Senya visits Asarina to say goodbye. He says he's leaving tomorrow. She tells him to get lost and stop bothering him. Up on their dorm, the captain comes in carrying a huge mirror. He also has some chocolate for Nadia, who pretends to be asleep until he's gone. It seems like these men aren't having any luck with the sniper squad. And it seems that German snipers are the ones with all the luck on their side. This time, they have done even more damage than before. So now, even the captain joins them in the trenches. Senya's there too, but soon it becomes obvious that he's a clumsy coward.
Это что? Что это такое?
Misha tells him to stay hidden under the tank. Saying very loud prayers, he does as he's told, trying to learn some of the tungus wisdom. The captain asks Misha why this spot. He says it's always easier to catch an animal near the water. Sure enough, a German squad is soon coming down to the nearby stream. Misha hits many of them. On the German side, Gustav and another sniper are trying to figure out where Misha is. The sniper says that the most likely position is under the tank. Poor Senya is cleaning his glasses when they're shot away from his hands, almost giving him a heart attack. Misha immediately pinpoints the sniper's location and down he goes. They get back to the trenches, celebrating the victory, but Misha has a warning. That sniper is not the one who hit Mikolov. That means he's still out there. A few days later, the big morale-boosting party is happening. Asarina sings beautifully and Senya has more flowers for her to ignore. He begs her to forgive him, offers her the spotlight at the drama group, and even proposes. She says it's too late and runs off. So he decides it's time for some unconventional measures. Around the campfire with Misha, Senya asks about Tungus witchcraft. Misha laughs at such stupidity but ends up taking pity on this poor loser. He tells him to find a good tree in the woods and then use it to talk directly to God. He should just make a request and wait for an answer. Sometime later, Alia is handing in some reports to the captain at their dorm. Nadia comes in to get cigarettes and Alia immediately leaves. The captain then tries to kiss Nadia. He says he fell in love the moment he saw her, ignoring her obvious repulsion. He keeps advancing until a bucket full of water cools him down. And there is Misha, calmly informing that the German sniper is back. "And what is this?" yells the captain, pointing at his soaked clothes. Never losing his sweet smile, Misha says it's just rain. The captain has simply no answer to that, so he leaves Nadia alone and follows him. They're back in the trenches now. Misha is trying to determine if the sniper who got Mikolov is around. He lifts up a helmet just above the line and it immediately deflects a bullet. He recognizes Gustav by the style of the shot. Tungus wisdom, baby. On the road nearby, the general's saying how jealous he is that Senya will be in Moscow in 3 hours. He casually says he should forget all about Asarina since her upcoming mission is so risky that she might not be around for much longer anyway. Senya is completely shocked to hear that, and now he's determined to be forgiven by her at any cost. Making them stop the car, he says he'll talk to God via a tree like Misha told him to. When he leaves, the general says he has definitely lost his mind.
Что бабы с мужиками делают, а?
Senya's cheek is soon glued to a tree trunk, just as Misha taught him. He whispers the prayer and waits for a response. That response comes in a German voice from the treetop, and it says, "Look how many Russians over there." Senya looks up and sees the sniper, so he frantically runs back to the farm, shouting and waving his arms. They can't hear what he's saying, but they hear the shot that shuts him up. Everyone gets down and takes cover, carefully trying to assume a defensive position. That's when Nadia goes for a crazy move. She runs across the field in zigzag, hoping one of them will take the bait. That's exactly what happens, giving Misha a chance to take care of that sniper. On the other side of the confrontation, a German officer is yelling at Gustav for having let this happen. He agrees with his commander and says that means he has no right to miss Nadia now. And he really doesn't. He hits her right below the shoulder before a giant tank comes out of the forest, as well as an entire German platoon. The battle begins. Outnumbered and taken by surprise, the Soviets fear this might be the end for them. Though badly hurt, Nadia manages to crawl all the way to the captain. She tells him the Germans are attacking.
Точно!
Soon, the Russian howitzers arrive, and now the battle looks more evenly matched. The German officer is furious, asking how they could have known. Gustav says he must have missed that girl Nadia. He barely finishes to say that, and there's an explosion very close to them. After the battle, Misha performs a very peculiar healing ritual on Nadia while the captain tells the general about her injury. He tries to convince him to call off the operation, but the general says he'll only do that if the captain writes a report taking full responsibility for the failure. As the coward that he is, the captain backs off. But Misha's ritual seems to work wonders because Nadia is back on her feet in no time. Parachuting behind enemy lines with the rest of the squad, they finally know what their mission is. Extremely important documents are about to be delivered to the Nazi General Schörner by his nephew, Major Dunst. The assignment is to intercept Dunst and seize the documents. Arriving at the train station, Major Dunst is delighted at the level of security. Misha and the girls are the ones in tree costumes now, just waiting for their moment. And guess who's also here? Gustav! Dunst is an old friend of his, so they catch up a little, but Gustav is not staying. After getting injured in that explosion, he's been sent home. Being such a tormented soul, he's not happy about that. Dunst is on the move now, so Misha and the girls start shooting. The Germans react in panic, and someone calls for backup. About to board his train back home, Gustav hears the commotion behind him and takes a different direction. One of the Soviets gets to the car where Dunst is. He's alive but wounded, so he can't stop the man from taking his briefcase with the documents. Gustav finds him when he's about to give up. He explains his despair. Those documents are the latest directives from Hitler himself. This could mean the end for the Nazis, and it's all his fault. But Gustav won't let it happen. He says this is a job for a professional. Moments later, the girls have a terrible surprise. Captured by Gustav and his team, the captain has set a trap for them. Misha is the only one who has escaped, but luckily the Nazis don't even know about him. Tied up together and wondering about their fate, the girls start singing to avoid bad thoughts. They even keep singing when the soldiers come in and drag them outside to face their punishment. So now they meet General Schörner, also known as Crazy Uncle Albert. He has a bizarre and cruel idea for what should be done with these ladies. He wants to release them in the woods and then hunt them down like boars. Surprisingly, Gustav is firmly against it. He says they're soldiers just like him and they deserve respect. Albert laughs and says he must be afraid of these unarmed little girls. He picks Asarina for his prey. Major Dunst picks Alia, and a third guy picks Varya. Albert says the winner can have Nadia for dessert. Once the hunt begins, all four girls run and hide. One of the hunters wants to put dogs after them, but Crazy Albert says that would be too easy and no fun. Hidden behind the grass, Asarina throws a log at one of the men to startle his horse. Just as expected, the man drops the rifle. She gets hold of it very quickly and takes no time to use it on its previous owner. Nadia and Varya are together and they manage to cross the river. But they become easy targets when crawling up the hill. One of the hunters is ready to collect his prize. He takes aim, but never gets to shoot. Hidden on the top of that hill, Misha is here to save the two girls. At a nearby stream, Alia is hiding from Dunst underwater. Misha attacks him too, hopping onto his horse with a knife. The girls get Alia from the water, saying that she's safe again. They take Dunst as a prisoner. Asarina climbs a tall tree from where she can see someone perched on a tall pine. But before she can use the rifle, Albert gets to her. She has a nasty fall, but not enough to stop her, really. She's still able to fire back at him. Soon the other girls find her too. Misha gives them all directions and stays behind to set a trap for the Germans. Albert is in very bad shape. He's carried inside by his men and Gustav is there. He tells him that the Soviets have taken Major Dunst. Instead of begging him to save his nephew, he says they must not be allowed to take him as prisoner because he knows too much. Gustav gathers his men and they go into the woods. He says they can't be far with a prisoner and at least one wounded. They decide to split into two groups. He warns the others that these girls are highly skilled snipers who've probably been training their entire lives. Our girls have surely come a long way. Now they're setting fire to some hay along the bridge, all reunited. Misha and Gustav are hunting each other until Gustav falls. So Misha runs through the burning bridge to hug his dear girls. But it turns out that the enemy is still alive. Gustav hits Misha, revealing his own position to Nadia. The girls are now finally safe, but that's the end for Misha and Gustav. And also the story. This was a recap of the 2012 movie Sniper 2 Tungus by Belarus Film, starring Marina Alexandrova and Andrei Tolstik. So what do you think? Did they do their job well? Which sniper was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.